I mean, if I eat a healthy diet with all my vegetables, my fruits, my right proteins and fats, I don't need any supplements. I hear this all the time. Individuals saying they're not going to be taking supplements because they're eating a very healthy diet overall. And then I think about and go, okay, that's cool, that's fair enough. But can you get all your minerals and vitamins from the food that you're eating? That is the question that I pose on you. That is the question that I have for this episode. The episode is going to be talking about soil. Good soil equals good health. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about soil health. What is good soil? What compromises good soil? How does it go bad? And then we're going to talk about the overall question that everyone wants to know the answer to is, do we have all the minerals and vitamins in our soil to go in our vegetables and our fruit to live a happy, healthy, optimal life? And then at the end, like I always do, I'm going to give you 3 tips on how you can improve your health and ensure you're making the most out of this soil. Let's get into it. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love, and appreciate your support. For any of you who don't know me, I'm a qualified naturopath and I'm passionate for all things health, business and overall success. And Mondays, which is Mondays with Mihaela, I'm here to provide you with simple, savvy and sustainable health hacks to optimize your health. This podcast is available on YouTube, but it's also available on podcasts such as Spotify, Apple Tunes and so forth. So you can listen to it or you can watch me also. Both ways you will get most out of it. All right, well, today's topic is such an interesting one because I've had so many individuals ask me and talk to me and say, well, I eat all my vegetables, I eat all my fruits, I am getting the minerals and vitamins that I need. I don't need supplements, right? That is exactly why I wanted to dig deep and research and find out about our soil health, because that's where it all starts, isn't that right? The vegetables that we are eating, they don't just come out of nowhere. They are grown in our soil. So our soil provides the nutrients for the vegetable to grow the way it's supposed to grow, right? So that is where I thought I would start. I was going to start at the bottom, like naturopaths will do. We look at the root cause. So I want to look at the root cause of this, right? The soil. So when we think about soil, I am not a farmer, an agriculturalist person or anything in that sense. So I don't really know much about soil. So what I'm going to be talking about today, I'm going to be referring a lot to my research that I've read and that I've investigated, right? Because soil is not my forte. Health, human body is, okay? So let's get into it. So soil health. Every teaspoon of soil is home to billions of microbes. Wow, that in itself is so powerful. So you take a teaspoon's tiny, but it has so many microbes in it. So what is a healthy soil? Well, apparently it's defined as the capacity of soil to function as a vital living system within ecosystems and land use boundaries to sustain plant and animal productivity, maintain or enhance water and air quality, and promote plant and animal health. That is a very long, when you look at it, and that was a definition written in 2000. It's a very long definition of soil health, isn't it? And it's so many variables there. So soil health is key for our environment, for us humans, plants and animals, because I've never really thought about it until I really did this episode. It is key, right? So we need optimal soil health. So along with sunlight and water, soil provides the basis for all life. The biodiversity around us, the field crops that we harvest from food and fiber, and the animal products that we gather, such as meat, milk, eggs, and so wool. Soil provides an ecosystem service which enables plant growth, resists erosions, stores water, retains nutrients, which we're going to be talking about, and is an environmental buffer in the landscape. Soil supplies nutrients, water, and oxygen to plants and is populated by soil biota, essential for decomposing and recycling. So our main interest in soil that I know of has been agriculture, right? It has been about growing plants and making animals so we're able to eat them, been growing them. So the interesting thing that I found is the total land area of the world exceeds 13 billion hectares, but less than half of it can be used for agriculture, including grazing. Less than half. A much smaller fraction, about 1.4 billion hectares, is suitable for growing crops. That is a small amount of land that we can grow crops on. I thought, oh, you just put a seed on there and then a plant will grow or a vegetable will grow, but that's not right. That's not right. We need good soil for it to happen. So our main interest has been agriculture, but not all soil, like we said, is made for it, right? So the thing is, the rest of the land is either too wet, too dry, too shallow, or too rocky. Some is toxic or deficient in nutrients, and the plants require is permanently frozen. Some of it is even permanently frozen. So there is a number of things there, and I think the thing is Australia is actually not a very good place to grow, and I think I'm going to talk about that later. Australia is not the best soil it doesn't have. So what is a healthy soil? So what a healthy soil does is supplies nutrients, water, and oxygen for healthy plants to grow. It allows water to infiltrate freely. It's resistant to erosions. It stores water. It readily exchanges gases with the atmosphere, so it works together with the atmosphere. It retains nutrients. It doesn't remove them. It's resistant to disease. It acts as an environmental buffer for the landscape. It contains a large and diverse population of soil biota. It's not acidifying or salinizing. It has a large of pore space to house organisms, nutrients, and water. That is what healthy soil is. So then what impacts our soil? There's so many things that impact our soil. It's crazy. When I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, like our soil is so it's just so beautiful. We need to be grateful for it for every single day. Like, thank you, soil, for being there for us and producing us with the nutrients it has. So key for us to be healthy. So it just makes me want to be even a better person to promote better soil quality and do those things. So let's look at what actually affects soil and soil quality. The biggest thing that every farmer can talk about is erosions, which means it's the removal of surface material from the Earth's crust, primary soil and rock debris, and the transportation of the eroded materials by natural agents such as water or wind from the point of removal. So erosions, firstly, they reduce the capacity of the soil to hold water and make the water available to plants. This subjects the crops to more frequent and severe water stress. Second, erosions contribute to a loss of plant nutrients, which washes away the soil particles. So a lot of farmers' worst nightmare, erosions. A lot of countries' worst nightmare, erosions, and it happens so frequently and so often. Second one is wind, right? So salt affected soils are found on every continent, and nearly 7% of the land area of the world is affected. Salinization is a serious problem in Australia, the Soviet Union, and the United States, and it is critical in countries of North Africa and the Near East. So this is this wasn't the wind, this is the salt aspect. So this is the salt. So second one was salt, and this is how salt impacts our soil health. The third one is wind. Wind impacts it because it just blows away all of the microbes, the bacteria that's found in the soil. It can be blown away and it causes stress on the earth, on the soil. Okay. The next one is waterlogging. So waterlogged soil also deter agriculture in many countries, even in parts of the world where the excess of water is not usually thought as part of the problem. Waterlogging interferes with agriculture in many countries. So in Egypt, for example, where about 1/3 of the Nile Delta has a water table only 80 centimeters below the surface. So that is an issue with waterlogging. The other one is crops. So yes, crops is an issue for soil. So besides being lost through erosions, nutrients are also depleted by crops themselves, particularly if the same crops are grown on the same land every year. And this is why a lot of people talk about rotating the crops, keep them rotating, because if you keep planting the same crops on the same land, it gets nutrient deficient. And in the humid tropics, many nutrients are leached during the intense rainstorm, especially on unprotected land. Without question, farming all over the world is removing more nutrients from the soil than are being put back into. So my question is, how can we put this back into the soil? How can we look after our soil and not take the nutrients, just keep taking the nutrients? And this all goes back to when we think about what we eat, how we eat, right? If we overeat, if we have too much waste, we are producing these vegetables, these fruits, and then we are wasting it and not actually consuming it, and it's just being chucked out. Wow, that hurts me, because we are hurting our soil in that way. We just go back down to what is happening, how we're making those vegetables. If we're chucking it away and we're not making the most use out of it, it's going for waste. But what are we using it for? What are we using the land for? What are we using the soil for? These are all questions running through my mind. The other one is arsenic. So some apple orchards sprayed with arsenic compounds in the 1930s were reported as still unproductive 30 years later. So this is just an overall talking about chemicals, and an example was the arsenic. So these apples, these farms were sprayed with arsenic, right? Even 30 years later, this land could not be used. It was not productive. That's crazy. Okay, so then chemical waste. So today, a more serious issue problem is severally highly industrialized countries is the indiscriminated dumping of chemical wastes, some of which are extremely toxic to plants, animals, and man, and the growing use of sewage sludge, some which contain dangerous heavy metals which are taken up by our plants. So we need to look at the bottom line. What is happening to our soil? What are we doing to our soil? How are we impacting it? Through spraying chemicals on the crops, how it's impacting it. Through dumping chemical waste on our soil, how it's impacting it. Through growing crops on the same land all over time. Waterlogging, the salt aspect, the wind, so nature in itself, the erosions. All of these things are impacting our soil. This is just some that I've mentioned. I can just imagine talking to a farmer or someone who's in agriculture. They'll be like, Mihaela, that's just like absolutely nothing. That's just the basis of it. I would actually love to get someone on to talk about soil health. Yes, so if you know someone, or if you are someone, an expert in agriculture or soil health, please hit me up. Let me know. I want to talk to you. I want to know more about this and what we can do. So we'll get you on the podcast. All right. So now that we know what healthy soil is, right? We know what healthy soil is. We know what impacts soil. Now we can look at the one interesting aspect that I wanted to look at is the minerals and vitamins in our food, how they are impacted by soil, right? So I looked at a number of studies and I wanted to see the food that we're eating now, is it any different to the food that we used to eat? The food that wasn't as sprayed as much, the food that, waterlogging, erosions, crops rotation wasn't such a big issue back in the days from my readings. Let's look at, has it impacted the minerals and vitamins in our food? Because I get a lot of people saying, my grandma never took supplements, my grandpa never took supplements. Well, did they have to? Let's look into it. All right. We're going to answer the question, is it true that food has a lot more vitamins and minerals decades ago than now? Okay, so there was a landmark study on this topic, right, by Donald Davis and his team of researchers from the University of Texas. They published it in 2014 in the Journal of American College of Nutrition. They studied US Department of Agriculture nutritional data from both the 1950s and 1999, and 43 different vegetables and fruits, finding a relative decline in the amount of protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, vitamin B2, which is known as riboflavin, and vitamin C over the past half century. As a group, the 43 foods showed apparent statistical decline for 6 nutrients, specifically protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, B2, and vitamin C, what we spoke about. But no statistical ROI will change for 7 other nutrients, right? So let's look at how much the drop was. You're thinking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about 1%, 2%, 3%. You're going to be shocked. I was shocked, right? 6% decline in protein. 6% decline in protein. 16% decline in calcium. What are most of us deficient in? Calcium. What's calcium got to do with? Osteo. It's got to do with osteoporosis. It's got to do with cell function, nerve signaling, secretion of hormones, blood coagulation, so blood being stuck together and not moving the way it's supposed to, muscle contraction and relaxation. It plays with the vitamin D deficiency, magnesium deficiency. It can cause heart failure, chest pain, fainting, fatigue, seizures, psoriasis, dry skin. Oh my gosh, that's just to name a few. And there's a 16% drop of calcium in our food at the moment from 1950 to 1999. Next one, number 9% was phosphorus. 9% was phosphorus. Phosphorus is important and found in our bones, our teeth, can assist with anxiety, fatigue, depression, weakness, irritability. What are most individuals, especially, though I'm not going to name who, but a lot of younger individuals, we're all irritable, right? 9% drop in phosphorus. Iron was a whopping 15% drop of iron. A lot of individuals are low in iron. What does that mean? It means tired, it means fatigue, it means shortness of breath, heart palpitation, restless legs. Yes, that is all linked to lion. Next one, iron, not lion. Next one is vitamin B2, also known as riboflavin. That was a huge drop of 38%. 38% of vitamin B2. Boom, right? It helps us absorb nutrients. It converts carbohydrates into ATP, which is our energy, right? It helps with eyes, nerve muscles, and skin. Absorbs and activates iron, folate, and B1, B3, and B6. So if we don't have this, we're unable to activate our folate. We're unable to activate our iron. You know, all of this stuff. It helps with hormone production. Individuals who are low in vitamin B2 would get mouth ulcers, dry skin, inflammation, red lips, sore throat, and even get those cranks on the ends of their lips, right? Vitamin B2, 38% 38% reduced nutrients in the vegetables from 1950 to 1999. The other one was vitamin C. The vitamin C is key because our body cannot make vitamin C, right? Vitamin C our body cannot make. We need to take it from food, right? What happens when we have low vitamin D? Our skin is damaged. We're easily bruised. We're slow to heal. Our gums bleed. We have fatigue. These are all vitamin C deficiencies or lower amounts of vitamin D. So I thought, okay, so that's one study, right, that talks about vitamin C depletion, vitamin B2 depletion, iron, phosphorus, calcium, and protein. I thought, let me look a little bit deeper. Let me get an understanding of, is there anything else, right? So I came across another study, and this study was written by White and Broadley in 2015. It came out. It compared composition data from both the UK. So you got to understand, the first one was from the US. This is the UK from 1930 to 1980. And the US from the 1930s to 2004. Okay. So what did I find? I found shocking news, right? Absolutely shocking. So let's look at the UK first, right? The UK, copper. Let's look at copper first. It found a reduction in copper of 73% in vegetables. Absolutely crazy. In magnesium, it found a deficiency in vegetables of 19%. Magnesium is key for our nerve function. A lot of us are deficient in magnesium. We're not getting the magnesium that we used to get from our food, and this shows it, okay? Salt. Another one is salt, which was 15% reduction. Next one is fruit, copper, 34% reduction. The other one is potassium, 10% reduction in fruit. Iron, 15% reduction in fruit. This is in the UK. Let's look at the US now. The US, let's look at it. Calcium, right? 37% reduction in vegetables. Copper, 40% reduction in vegetables. Iron, 75% reduction in vegetables. Copper, 36% reduction in fruit. Iron, 72% reduction in fruit. And potassium, we have a 13% reduction in fruit. This is mind-blowing. You know, this is mind-blowing. This is like, wow, I had a bit of a shock when I looked at it. I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. So we can see the key ones in the UK were copper, and the key ones were magnesium. The key ones were, just crazy. In the US, it was just crazy. Iron. We're looking at iron reduction. We're looking at copper, calcium, magnesium. Overall, just looking at these studies makes me think, these are just 2 studies I found. There might be more out there, and I'm pretty sure there are more out there, and there might even be some to look at in Australia, and that's something to look into. But the whole point of this podcast was for us to be aware of our soil health. What is our soil? How healthy is our soil? What are we doing to ensure the health of our soil is on point? I know, for example, a lot of individuals are low in selenium, right? And we've always been told, don't tell them, because we tell them to get Brazilian nuts high in selenium, right? But we would say, make sure that the Brazilian nuts are not from Australia or New Zealand. Make sure they're from somewhere else. Why? Because the soil in Australia is low in selenium, right? So it'd be really interesting. Like I said, I would love to get someone on here to talk about soil health, to get an understanding about it, and to figure out how we can, what we can do to assist with this. My understanding is that buying organic, right, means that we are supporting organic farmers. Buying organic means that we want organic food, which means we're not spraying it as heavily as the conventional fruits and vegetables. By spraying conventional fruit and vegetables so much, it's impacting our soil. Yeah. So by messing up with the environment changes that are happening around the world at the moment, we're messing with our soil. Look at it this way. If we don't have soil, we don't have vegetables, we don't have fruit, we don't have meat, dairy, and so forth that individuals take in. But the key is like I said, if we don't have soil health, we're unable to eat those delicious, nutritious vegetables, those delicious, nutritious fruits that are good for us. Okay, because what can happen is we can eat this broccoli and be like, oh yes, broccoli from my reading and understanding is really good. But is that broccoli that you have in your hand, is that filled with the nutrients, minerals, and vitamins that you need and that you require? Right? Because we may be thinking we're taking, so the thing that I always question is, we may be thinking that we are eating on point. But I always say, are we? I always question, are we eating on point? Are we feeding our body with the minerals and vitamins it needs? And this is why it's key for any individual that is concerned about this to talk to a healthcare professional, to get a plan in place to ensure that they're hitting their minerals, vitamins needs, right? And the minerals and vitamins needs that are put out there in a nutritional table by most countries is well below what we need. So if you're not even hitting that, to me, that is the lowest you should be hitting. You should be aiming for higher than that. If you're not even hitting the lowest, well, then what is happening in your body? What is happening in your body? Are you feeding yourself with nutrients and minerals that you need? So this is gobsmacking, right? We looked at, a 16% reduction in calcium, which can cause cell function issues. A lot of people have osteoporosis, right? We looked at 9% in phosphorus, which is found in our bones and teeth. So how many individuals are having more teeth issues these days, right? Iron, 15% iron. How many people are more tired, fatigued? But when we look at this iron, riboflavin, vitamin C, these are all linked to tired, anxiety, fatigue, not being able to digest properly. So, pump up your veggies. Make sure that your veggies have the minerals and vitamins they need for your body to function. So, to wrap it up, now we'll go into the 3 tips on how you can improve your health. Let's get into it. Number 1 is educate yourself on what food contains what minerals and vitamins. And this is something that I provide you educational on. If you have any specific questions in regards to specific foods or minerals, vitamins, shoot through, ask me. I'm here to help, right? Educate yourself on, 100 grams of broccoli. What does that have, right? Does it have the iron I need? Does it have the minerals I need? Does it have the vitamin C I need? You may be shocked when you start looking into it. Number 2 is eat a rainbow diet. When you look at your plate, does it have all the colors it needs? Yes, amazing. No, add more colors in. I'm not talking about artificial colors or putting Skittles on your plate and you're like, yes, I have the rainbow. No, I'm talking about greens, leafy greens. I'm talking about purple cabbages, purple carrots, red capsicum, green leafy greens. I'm talking about purple potatoes, orange potatoes, purple beetroot. Oh, these colors, white cauliflower, everything you can put in there, have it all on a plate, eat that rainbow, because all those different colors have all different vitamins and minerals in them, right? And the third one, which I always talk about, is eat organic whenever you can and where possible, right? This is going to help the soil health, but it's also going to help you to ensure that you're not getting those nasty chemicals, those nasty herbicides, pesticides in your body. You don't want them. You actually don't want them in your body. They're causing so much harm in your body, so much havoc, and you don't need that, especially if you already have a disease in your body. You don't need that. Don't need that. So, but if you're concerned, look up the Clean 15, which is not sprayed as much, minimal compared to the Dirty Dozen, which is 12 vegetables, mainly fruits, which is sprayed like crazy. Strawberry is one of them. Do not eat a strawberry unless it's organic. Even if it's organic, I would be questioning it. But anyway, that's for another topic. Today's topic was all about soil health. Like I said, I'm not a farmer. I'm not an agriculturalist person. I'm a naturopath. But I find this so intriguing, and I want to put this information to you so you can make an optimal decision for your health. So what we can see, to wrap it up, we can see that, soil health is key for our health. We can see what impacts our soil health. But then we can also see that the nutrients that, the fruit that we used to eat has dropped off over the years. Over the half century, it has dropped off. I would love to see a recent study to see what has impacted. In particular, what has impacted, why has it dropped, and how much has it dropped by, if it's dropped, right? I would love to know, love to know. If you know any research studies that have been done like that, let me know, send it through. So essentially is sometimes you may need to supplement your diet, but this is for you and a healthcare professional to determine. What I'm here to provide you is with information to let you know that soil health is key for your health. The soil needs to be on point for your health to be on point. There you go. Share this episode with someone who's like a bit lost and like, is soil health still the same? Are the minerals and vitamins still the same in vegetables that they were 50 years ago? Well, share this with them. They will be as shocked as I was when I did this research. Do what you do best. Love, like, share, rate, review. Thank you so much. And until next Monday, love you.